has just gone 8 o'clock Central African time. Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin at 8, brought to you by Eswatini TV. My name is Taniboy Ngowan alongside Zamanzi Manze. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. We're coming to you live from our Hospital Hill studios in Mbabane, and these are your top stories tonight. Government is concerned about the recent increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in the country. The Ministry of Agriculture has urged the youth to apply their energy and skills to bring about innovative ways of doing agriculture. And the Galanga Technical Center with 30 million Malangeni has been officially opened. And now the news in detail. His Majesty government is concerned about the increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in the country. This follows that on Wednesday alone, 17 COVID-19 cases were reported countrywide, which indicates that Maswati are no longer adhering to the COVID-19 regulations. This was said by the acting Prime Minister Themba Masuku during a press conference held at the Cabinet offices in Mbabane.
We meet today, a day after Eswatini recorded 17 new COVID-19 infections, the highest number of infections since 6 March 2021. Coming from an average of 5 infections a day over the last 3 months, these numbers cannot be ignored as they indicate an unpleasant situation for the Kingdom of Eswatini, particularly as the threat of the third wave continues to hang precariously over our heads. And even though the number of admissions and deaths is remarkably low, we have no doubt that if the current upward trend continues, it is just a matter of days before we experience high admissions and deaths. I'd therefore like to take this opportunity to remind all the Maswati and residents of Eswatini that the country is still in the midst of a challenging and unpredictable pandemic. Having already experienced 2 challenging and deadly waves with a total of 18,618 cumulative confirmed cases and 673 deaths, we need to keep in mind that a third wave is imminent and can occur anytime. The fact that we have been experiencing new cases each day with intermittent breaks indicates that the virus has continued to circulate among our people. Traveling from one point to another has been proven to be among the major causes of the widespread of the virus in communities. This virus does not travel by itself, but is transported by people. As people travel to other countries, the risk of importation of variants remains high. We have already seen reports of the resurgence of COVID-19 cases in some regional countries where many Maswati travel to frequently. May I re-emphasize that cross-border travel is still strictly prohibited unless it is for business, medical, and educational purposes. We have been warned before that the winter season is a period when a number of people develop flu and pneumonia. As we have already entered the cold season, we do anticipate that the coronavirus will take advantage of this period to thrive.
The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, has urged the youth to apply their energy and skills to bring about innovative ways of doing agriculture. The minister said this during a tour of a climate-smart agriculture project at Gunvini in the Manzini region. Our reporter Lungelele Makakula has more on that story.
The The minister has visited Zuga Pembe's home, a farmer from Kunvini. The main purpose for this visit is to encourage farmers in the area and the entire country to observe and learn from Mr. Pembe as the country strives to achieve zero hunger, no poverty, and improved well-being for its people. The Minister of Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, has urged the youth to apply their energy and skills to bring about innovative ways of doing agriculture. He says the ministry appreciates the great commitment and hard work by Babe Pembe, especially the desire to try and see for himself the effect of the climate-smart technologies that would make him improve his production despite the negative effects of climate change.
Agriculture ake babuke banilabasha ukuthi bayisonzelele tudane ngoba ibonakala ine potential lenkulu yokuthi bantu nabayisebenta ngale ndlela yebuchwephesha losebukhona yakha imali ikhona kubenda abantu babe self sustainable nalokuthi ke vele siyathi ukuthi nasitawucetha buphuya ema sustainable development goals lesikhuluma ngawo kufanele ukuthi le agriculture ihambe embili.
UN Resident Coordinator Natalie Ndongose has commended Mr. Pembe and said achieving food and nutrition security for the population is a priority to government.
This is exactly the type of stories that we want to hear. Eswatini that wins. Eswatini that wins in one of its main sector of the economy, agriculture, and one definitely in which I believe that in order to tackle food insecurity, hunger, poverty, and so on, we shall invest more.
The farmer, Zuga Pembe, owns an 8 hectares land where he grows his crops. He says he started farming in his youth days as it was a family norm. He says he sells his produce to street vendors as well as supermarkets. Insert, Mr. Pembe is not only into crop farming but also a beekeeper. Mr. Pembe is not into crop farming but also beekeeping. Reporting, I'm Lungile Makakula with Mbangwa Dube at Kunvini.
The Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs has officially launched the Eswatini tourism industry digital marketing training. The minister hopes that the training workshop will empower stakeholders to generate content that flaunts the country's immeasurable beauty despite the COVID-19 outbreak.
During the workshop, which was attended by almost all tourism stakeholders in the country, the Minister of Tourism and Environmental Affairs, Moses Vilagati, was represented by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry, John Shope. Vilagati says digital media is one of the most influential platforms of our time.
We hope that this training workshop we are holding today will empower you to generate content that will flout our country's immeasurable beauty and continue to put us on the world map as one of the most sought after destinations in the world. May this training workshop serve as a sustainable supplement to the recovery of our sector, and may you be inspired to continue demonstrating that indeed Eswatini has more to offer.
Eswatini Tourism Authority Chief Executive Officer Linda Nxumalo hopes that the training workshop will help stakeholders to imagine themselves as active contributors towards the creation of more digitized tourism industry in Eswatini.
We believe that after this workshop, the Kingdom of Eswatini will be better marketed, and it will be marketed in a professional way. And we really do believe that this will help us a lot in our drive to position Eswatini as the destination of choice, not only in the continent but in the world at large.
Hospitality and Tourism Association of Eswatini chairperson Markwati says the tourism sector should come up with innovative ideas. The Kingdom of Eswatini was named as one of Lonely Planet's top destinations for 2020. The country was ranked 5th among the top 20 travel destinations. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Themba Shabangu Ezulwini.
The Ministry of Education and Training says schools that are no longer using the shift system of learning are in violation of the late regulations. The ministry says this poses the danger of spreading the coronavirus. The ministry was before the Public Accounts Committee on Thursday.
Members of the Public Accounts Committee say they have noted that some schools have decided to be fully operational instead of using the shift system announced by government. The members want to know if this has been authorized by the Ministry of Education and Training.
I have a case in my constituency where head teacher of the shift. Kusinengathini nelitiko kusasebenza nanibuka tawuphela umnyaka abacedzile kufunza. We understand the situation in COVID, but nelitiko, what's your position kuleyo issue?
Lokhu kwela abantwana bangena ngemalanga abo lamanye bangasebenzisi. Nalokuthi ke sihlala ugcina ubuta ukuthi ingabe kuyabasebenzela yini.
Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Training, Bertram Stewart, says this is a violation of set regulations and schools have to refrain from it.
But unfortunately, nasi begindlebe vele kukhona lokho kuganga ngaba kwekhuda nje chairperson, because as late as yesterday evening I had a meeting nemhlonishwa Ndunankulu lobambele kuNdunankulu sibuka lokho ukuthi mina bengicela ukuthi sesingakivulela letikolo ukuthi sale kungena the full complement hayi lokuthi baye ngama-shift wathi Ndunankulu nyalo ku wrong kabi lokuthi sikwende lokho. So ngaba kusho chairperson ukuthi labo bothishela labavumela ukuthi bantwana basale bangena the full complement kukuganga.
Stewart asked members of the committee to assist them in calling head teachers who have engaged in such practice to order as they endanger the lives of pupils. For Eswatini TV News, Themgosi Mavimbela with Muzim Konda, Parliament.
The Parliament of Eswatini is standing with the decision taken by legislators from the Southern Africa region who are part of the African Union's Pan-African Parliament, who want the seat of the Parliament or the Presidency's seat of Parliament to rotate. This was said by the Eswatini Parliament leader of the delegation, Member of Parliament Robert Magongo, during an interview with Eswatini TV.
Following a decision which was taken in 2014 by the African Union's Pan-African Parliament that its president's seat should be rotated around all African regions, the honourable members have failed to implement the resolution. Chaos erupted during this year's sitting as Parliament failed to elect its president, as other regions of Africa have changed tunes about the implementation of the decision, saying the president should be voted in. Eswatini Parliament is also part of the proceedings, and the delegation is led by Mochane Member of Parliament Robert Magongo. Magongo says the country shares similar sentiment with other Southern African countries. He says Eswatini Parliament wants the 2014 resolution implemented.
Rotational. So agendeke ke lokho sisena sekufika la kulesikhathi lesinyalo le rotation ne presidents kufuna ukuthi nyalo ingene Southern. So laba base West baba nokwakwabala because banale nombolo kanzi sebake bayithola le chance. So kungako ke sifika kulezi ukuthi now no rotation, no vote.
Other Eswatini lawmakers who are also part of the proceedings are Senators Tony Sbanze and Sylvia Mthethwa. Apart from MP Magong, there are also two members of Parliament who are Mhlume Constituency Member of Parliament Victor Malambe, as well as Manzini South Member of Parliament Thandi Nxumalo. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla, visual source from DW, VOA, as well as France 24.
Manzini Regional Administrator Chief Gicha has urged Eswatini to be vigilant of all the COVID-19 regulations as the Operation Bopa campaign is expected to start on the 4th of June to ensure compliance in all sectors of the Manzini region. Chief Gicha made this during a press briefing held in Manzini.
Following an increase in the number of people that have tested positive for COVID-19 in the country, Manzini Regional Administrator Chief Gicha says the Manzini region has concerns over the possible threat of the third wave.
Sithanza ke kuleli phuba kulesikhathi esithola konyalo kwatisa onke eMaswati kaManzini ukuthi akaqaphele kusukela kusasa i-team ayifuni ukuthi iyabaduma abantu asitumani siyadisana benene sifuna siphile sonke kusukela kusasa i-team iyaphuma futhi ingena emgwaqweni itawungena emadolobheni itawungena nasemigwaqweni ngekulandzelana nje kwemalanga itawungena nasetikomplaza asihlala khona kakhulu vele iyo-checka i-compliance etitolo nabo onke amabhizinisi lakhona siyabuyela futhi ngoba sibe siselikheve lencane siyo-checka futhi phinde siyo-enforcer i-operation Bopa. I-team anguvetelo kuwe eMaswati ukuthi akade ukuthi i-COVID-19 isekhona. Iyacela-ke i-team ukuthi angisho eMaswatini ukuthi asingafi sesitsheliwe betempilo basitshelile ukuthi lokho kuyabulala sinathi sesikubonile. Asiqhubeke bekunene silalele imigomo yabaka-health asingathelelani iphinde i-team ithi angikuvetela ukuthi asingayendi imibuthano lemikhulu.
Chief Gicha has pleaded with Eswatini not to take lightly these regulations since 17 people tested positive for COVID-19 on Wednesday. He says people should wash their hands with running water and soap, practice social distancing and sanitize. Reporting for Eswatini TV, Nomalungelo Jele with Mbonga Dube in Manzini.
SWACA Executive Director Nonhlanhla Dlamini says 715 sexual assault cases have been reported since April 2020 to March 2021. The Executive Director says these cases have been reported to the police and the organization, and about 13 of the perpetrators have been convicted.
The statistics on sexual assault cases compiled by SWACA reveal that 18 of the 715 are victims from the ages of 0 to 5 years. 76 of those are victims from the ages of 6 to 11 years. 448 are victims from the ages of 12 to 17 years. 80 are victims from the ages of 18 to 24. And 93 cases are victims who are 25 years and above. SWACA Executive Director Nonhlanhla Dlamini says 403 cases are still pending investigation.
And then we have 42 cases, which accounts to 6%, that have actually been closed. And then we have 257, which accounts to 36% of people who are still awaiting trial. And again, this is very painful, both to the person who's waiting trial and also to the person who is seeking justice, because it is so painful when you have to wait for this long, waiting for justice. And then out of those, we have 403 cases, which counts to 56%, more than half of the cases are actually pending investigation. And that is the most painful scenario, because the person has not been arrested because they still have to investigate the matter. And then the person is roaming on the streets.
She says major challenges faced by the organizations are that cases of children take too long to go to court, postponement of cases, lack of safe houses, and lack of collaboration amongst key stakeholders. She recommends that cases involving children should not be postponed and court preparation should be mandatory for all cases involving children. Reporting, I'm Lungelila Makakula, Dube in Manzini.
Radio signal and network issues that continue to be a stumbling block for pupils learning online are not just a concern to the public but also to the Ministry of Education and Training. The ministry is now working with a private company and the Eswatini Broadcasting and Information Services to ensure that all pupils are able to access online and radio lessons.
COVID-19 introduced a new way of life which included how lessons were conducted in schools. These new methods of learning included online learning and having lessons through radio and television. Members of the Public Accounts Committee have asked what is being done to ensure that all pupils have equal access to this radio and online lessons.
Akuna radio lapha sihlalo akuna network complain kakhulu labadala ukuthi abantu lesikhathi basele nje phaka kude labakuthola kuna ama program angala ama radio abasitakana abantwana khona xa sibaye bayo check asihlala badibona lokho letule emlinzi emagcolweni uyadi REO compressed syllabus mntwana ka grade 1 mfundza grade 1 mfundza grade 2 phinze uya kanye esikolweni ngeliviki uyabasebenzela yini.
Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Training, Bertram Stewart, had a response for the committee.
Unfortunately, capital intensive, but siyasebenza nebaga SBIS kuthi abasifakele ama repeater stations. Size sisebenza ngisho nabantu aba private sector ukuthi basithe ukuthi wherever kuna outreach corner. But obviously we cannot do it overnight. Deliver kangwane bekunene we must appreciate ukuthi after COVID ayichinjanga so linetinzamo. So kuyabanga ukuthi kube ne challenge lokuthi kufika njani leyo signal labantu abesikolo. It's something that we are not proud of nananathi.
Stewart asked parents not to demonize online learning as that may have an impact on how pupils receive these lessons, while the ultimate goal is for them to pass come year end. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Muzim Konda, Parliament.
Junior Achievement has launched the participation of Eswatini Inclusive Primary School in its financial literacy and entrepreneurship program. Junior Achievement Director Petsela Masilela says the aim of this initiative is driving the inclusion of children living with disabilities in their programs.
The inclusion of children with disabilities in the financial literacy and entrepreneurship program started in the year 2020 with 4 schools from the other regions of the country. This year, Eswatini Primary School in the Eswatini region has been officially added to the schools. The director at Junior Achievement, Petsela Masilela, says with funding assistance from Eswatini National Provident Fund, they have implemented programs that have shown that children with disabilities are just as capable at entrepreneurship as those that are not living with disabilities.
We are at Eswatini Primary School. We are launching the participation of the school in our programs. So this is a school that has children who are living with disability. I must say that those are the kids that are our priority in this school. So we would like to support the children to improve their skills of financial literacy. They need to understand what is money. They need to understand how they have to use money and how they can invest into their future. So we are quite excited to have such an integration because we can see that it helps the child to understand issues just like the other child.
The Eswatini National Provident Fund donated a sum of 40,000 emalangeni to the Eswatini edition of the program. Mike Nkabinde, who was representing the fund's CEO, says this donation is an investment to the pupils with confidence that it will bear positive results as they unleash their creativity and talents through the Junior Achievement Program.
The ENPF social responsibility initiatives. We are here at Eswatini today to present a check for 40,000 that will assist in the JA program. We have students here who are members of the JA program, and the fund wishes to have them as well participating in the program in order to sharpen their entrepreneurial skills to enable them to earn a living like everybody else.
Eswatini Primary Head Teacher Duncan Zima thanked Junior Achievement and Eswatini National Provident Fund for adding his school under the program. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Sifiso Ngumalo with Smova Shongwe, Eswatini.
The Public Accounts Committee has asked the Ministry of Education and Training as well as the Ministry of Public Service to review how government houses are allocated to civil servants. Members of the committee are also concerned about the stagnant housing allowance given to civil servants compared to the commercial rate paid by government to private landlords.
Members of the Public Accounts Committee have expressed concern over the way government houses are allocated to civil servants, including teachers. PAC has also raised concern on housing allowances, which are far below commercial rate, which some civil servants have to rent at.
In very junior people, back my 2-3-bedroom house. Can address the issue of the housing allowance. Even market rate, umuntu atotkhethela ukubheka.
Ngicela chairperson ukuthi litiko se noma hulumende awa-engage lama companies ukuthi labo thishela labafundisako le etikolweni ndabo baphakamisa legama lale company kakhulu, more especially nama results abamahle. Some companies abawabhadalisi labo thishela labo rent.
The Ministry of Public Service had a response for the committee.
Public service uyarenta also akakhona ukufika esigabeni sokuthi angadecide ngale ndlu ukuthi ingimalini. Mangabe kunesisebenzi chairperson ukuthi sifike esigabeni sokuthi sisirentele a list house. Sisebenzisa le mali lekhona le khanzakala ukuthi each and every year budgeted na 47 kahulumende.
The committee has added that there might be a need for an audit of the government house allocation exercise to ensure fairness. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Moses Konda, Lobamba.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at news making headlines in the world of sports. Minister for Sports Harry Siblunga says the new technical center at Galanga and Stegi, which also serves as a stadium, will assist local football in hosting games at this time when the country is faced with the shortage of venues to host football games. Minister Bulunga was speaking when officially opening the center at Galanga under the Lubombo region.
Eswatini Football Association continue with its project of developing the sport in the country. The association officially opened Galanga Technical Center in Stegi under the Lubombo region, which is set to also host different football games. Opening officially the center, Minister for Sports Haris Bulunga says the stadium will assist the country in hosting different local tournaments at this time when the country is faced with the shortage of stadiums.
Of particular interest to us is that this facility has been readied at a time where there is a glaring shortage of suitable facilities to host domestic football activities due to various reasons, including our rehabilitation of Somtolo National Stadium. So this facility therefore will help to immediately lessen the stress on the football machinery by providing a modern suitable base to host matches and ensure that the ongoing competitions are completed on time.
Football Association Acting President Comfort Shongwe detailed on the costs of the infrastructure.
Letsakhiwo nje sona letindlu tibite 21 million shotse mashumi lamabili nakunye wetigidzi bese ke lo tshani lobungomi kona kube 8 million kwakha lelo ground shothi ke sibese sesa excavator la celeni kuthi normal ground lethu seliphumile but ke sasa excavator la celeni ukuthi bona babese bakhona kufaka lama tracks ekugijima lokho excavator ke kusibite 2.5 million so mawutihlanganisa tonke letimali soyabona ukuthi ngumsebenzi lo bengetulu wetigidzi ngemashumi lamathathu.
Other senior officials to speak during the event were members of parliament who were representing the portfolio committee of the Ministry of Sports, thanked both the ministry and the National Football Association for the job well done. Lubombo Regional Football Association and the residents also thanked the Football Association. They added that the infrastructure will with no doubt play a major role in developing football in Lubombo. Before the end of this month, the stadium will begin to host some of the M10 Premier League games. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera with Linda Lamini, Stegi.
Well, it's something that brings us to the end of our news bulletin at 8 here at Eswatini TV. But before we go, here's a quick reminder of your top stories tonight. government is concerned about the recent increase in the number of COVID-19 cases in the country. The Ministry of Agriculture has urged the youth to apply their energy and skills to bring about innovative ways of doing agriculture. And the Galanga Technical Center with 30 million Malangeni has been officially opened. Well, beautiful kingdom of Eswatini. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin at 8 here at Eswatini TV. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us. We shall cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report. And from us and the rest of the transmission crew here at Eswatini TV, for now, it's good night and God bless.
Everywhere you go, MTN.